Hello, welcome to Nintendo Nostalgia, episode 16. I am Jacob Rush, and I am not joined by Ryan Black once again. Everybody, truth is, Ryan was not eaten by Kyle Martin's dog last week. Ryan he went on a cruise with his wife, and he has not come back. He was supposed to be gone a week, and the dude just does not want to come home. I guess it's warmer where he's at, so at least for this week, we're going to be without Mr. Ryan again, and it's his loss because we are replacing him with a wonderful guest that we have on the show, Tom Qualls. How are you doing, man?
I am doing quite well, thank you. You're too kind. You're too kind. You already called me a great guest. I haven't done anything. You're calling me a great guest.
Well, that's because I know you, and I know that you're a great guy.
They're cheating.
But
everybody at home, I'm great. Remember that. So.
He is great. And I mean, who better to replace Ryan than with, no one knows this, I don't even know if Tom knows this, but Tom is like Ryan's idol, per se.
Oh, wow. Oh, wait, that's news. Yeah.
Ryan, in case you didn't know, maybe he'll be shy around you after this, but Ryan looks up to you. Basically, we all have that gamer guy that is like the number one dude that he's the greatest. He is the greatest at video games. He showed me the ropes. That's you. I can't tell you how many stories I've heard from Ryan about Tom. Tom,
man.
That's you. He always talks about you.
You know what? Yeah, in high school, I was around Ryan a lot. I never knew that. Now I feel a little embarrassed. Now I feel like, oh man. No, I knew Ryan in high school. We did lots of stuff together. Played lots of games together. Even had drama class.
Yeah.
I don't know if he told you that we were in drama class together in high school.
I do recall that. Yes.
Yeah, that was a good time. That was pretty fun. But I'm super excited to be on here, and hopefully I'll live up to the hype now. Jeez, man.
Well, we'll let Ryan listen to the show, and he'll probably
be embarrassed together. Yeah.
He might resign and just let you take over because
don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that, Ryan. We love you.
Yeah, buddy. You guys are killing it.
Well, no, I'm honored and glad to have you on too, Tom. So just to go ahead, and I want to give a little shout out to a new follower on our Facebook page. His name is Jesse Armstrong, and he and I know I apologize. We haven't done shout outs at all the whole time, and we're just now starting doing this. So I know people have written on the wall in the past, and I don't want anyone to feel like we've missed them or not appreciated any comments and anything that they've said. But we're going to start doing this a little bit more because we want to be interactive with you, and we want you to know that we're listening and that we do just appreciate your comments and shares. But Jesse Armstrong checked out our episode last week of Ocarina of Time, and he wrote on our Facebook page that he basically, after hearing that episode, he hasn't been playing Nintendo in years, and he remembered everything about his N64 days, and he went out, rebought Ocarina of Time 3D, and he hasn't played this since he was I think the dude's like in his 30s or something, and he
ain't nothing wrong with that, by the way.
No,
nothing wrong with being in your 30s.
No, but unlike you, Tom, I think he stopped playing games for a long time. So he is like re-jumping back into that world, and he told me that because of the show now, like he was saving up money to buy a gun, and now he's going to go buy a Switch instead. So
yeah, 1-2 Switch. He still has a gun technically.
You're right.
Do a little Western draw,
and a little safer version of a gun, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I think he's getting hyped for Breath of the Wild, but to me that's what this show is all about, and that excites me and encourages me so much. Is that we want to tap into people's nostalgia, to remind them of how much they used to love Nintendo. Like maybe they've gone astray, maybe they still do love them, but
come back, it's still great.
Right. Remember why you loved them, and then let's take a look at what they're doing today. And like they're still that same company with the magic. They may make some mistakes, they may fumble every now and then. I get it, but stick with them, and we hope that we can rekindle that fire in you and help you fall in love with them again, so.
Yeah. Well, welcome home, Jesse. Let me tell you that. Welcome home.
Welcome home, brother. Speaking of the Switch, Tom, I want to get your thoughts on Nintendo Switch.
Oh, man.
What are you thinking?
Okay, so, okay. I got a lot to unpack here. I don't want to take too much time. Oh, man, I don't know where to start. Let's start with this. I'm going to tell you my absolute favorite thing about the Nintendo Switch. And it's not popular, and that's fine, but I'm going to get it off my chest. The number one greatest thing about the Nintendo Switch is that sound effect when the Joy-Con slaps in and it goes tink,
yes.
That's a terrible sound effect, but you know what I'm talking about? It's so satisfying. I can't even replicate it. It's like a wood block mixed with like a click, and if that sound doesn't sound every time I start up my Switch, I'm gonna cry because it's so satisfying. So every time I see a commercial, yes, you just hear the click, clock, yes, time to do it, Switch stuff. And so I'm looking forward to hearing that sound many times for the next few years, which is a weird thing, I know, but I love that about the Switch.
I get that. I mean, there's something. It feels good. It makes you feel like this isn't a little toy anymore. Like this is.
Well, to me, it's so specifically tailored, and I think it's just something indicative of something they're doing that's bigger that I like, which is they're putting their whole back into this bad boy. We got Super Bowl ads, we got all the different the direct with all the different games coming. You got how many third-party developers working on this thing right now? You're looking at Unreal 4 engine. They're putting everything into this, and and it's much more marketable than, as much as I love the Wii U, it's way more marketable than the Wii U. When you down to the click sound, to the red and white, the fact that it's going to be using cartridges again, smaller boxes, it's just something tactile that's. I love what they're doing with it. So I'm going to love holding a Switch. I'm going to love just being in the Switch.
If you what they said in their press conference, did you watch the press conference at all?
Are you talking back when the
live event?
Originally? Yes.
The live event. Mm-hmm. What I really picked up. First off, they talked about how like the new controllers, the Joy-Cons, just like in the Switch in general, is something a little bit out of each of their past home consoles.
It's kind of crazy when you look at that evolutionary chart, if you will. Like it's definitely the product of all of them.
It is, and what I see with the Nintendo Switch right now. And this excites me, and I don't know if everyone's catching on this. Maybe they are, and it's just not being talked about as much. But I just feel like Nintendo is looking at their past history, and they're looking at all their high marks when they are at the top of the mountain. And it's from the little things of, like you said, they went back to the red and white. That was their traditional colors. Like you see red and white Nintendo now. You see. They talked about Mario Odyssey. It's just the first sandbox Mario game they've had really since 64 and Sunshine. And 64, in my opinion, was their best 3D Mario game they've ever made. And they're now making a proper sequel to that, And look at Zelda. They're going back to the foundation of the Nintendo 60. I see a lot of Nintendo 64 in the Switch. Like I see it being redone for today. You got your Mario 64 like style game in Odyssey. You got Breath of the Wild, which is just like we talked about last week on Ocarina of Time. Like that game was revolutionary for a time. It set the Zelda standard for what it was going to be for the next 10 to 20 years. And that's what I think Breath of the Wild's doing. It's raising that bar, setting a new standard of what Zelda games should be like and the quality of it. And I just feel like they're in the recent past, it feels like Nintendo kind of ignores their history, what made them popular, because like they'll do wacky things, or it feels like for like Donkey Kong Country that we just got Tropical Freeze, but it's like poof, it's gone. And before that, it was like there was no Kong Donkey Kong Country for years.
Well, and that's something for me I've always appreciated about Nintendo is their willingness to step outside and say, we're doing something different this time. We're just gonna try maybe doing this. And as much as I love a true sequel or something that's inspired by something that worked before, I enjoy those newer ideas.
And I do. I just think that their next approach is because the Wii U did so bad. I think they're basically saying, well, let's take all of our best weapons, put them together, and this is how we're going to start this next generation, and then build off of that. Because they're still doing new things. Like,
yeah.
Well, with the motion controls, honestly, I didn't expect the motion controls. I thought,
I thought we were gonna go ahead and move to a more traditional controller or something. But I'm glad they're there.
I'm glad that they're there too. I hope that they've learned to not make everything only motion control games. Like, give the option. Like, for example, ARMS is optional. They showed it as a motion control game, but you can play it with a regular controller. And
and that's fun. Yep.
I think I'll use the motion controls, to be honest. But some days, I may be tired from the end of the day, and I want to play ARMS.
Like swinging my arms around. Yeah, I need to press some buttons. Yeah.
So if they could fix those things, like Star Fox for the Wii U would have sold way better if it wasn't tied to the controls, and that's what everyone's biggest complaints were.
I still have a tear in my eye from good old Star Fox Zero. I love Star Fox so much, but that's a story for another idea, I suppose.
Well, did you ever play it co-op? Not to go off on a tangent, but that's the only way I played it. I tried to play it by myself, and it is extremely hard. And if you
know what? I did play it co-op. You're right. It was a little easier on co-op for sure.
I beat it co-op with a buddy of mine. We basically played through the whole game, and I can tell you it's a lot more satisfying, and I think that way is the definitive way to play it if you want to enjoy it to its fullest. But if you get really good at the motion controls, you can have a good time with it. I remember this example. I died a lot, and I was getting frustrated with this one level because the motion controls were hard to get used to. But once I finally got into my groove and I focused and I got it, I was satisfied. Like when I beat that level, it felt good. There is a learning curve, and most people, it seems like, couldn't get past that learning curve. Yeah, I see what Nintendo was trying to do, but
going back to the Switch, that's something else that excites me though. Is that direction of going something new, something different. But they're not, like you said, they're not really forgetting their past. They're doing some good callbacks, if you will.
Yes.
With some of the games they've already got announced for it, but as far as what I'm really looking forward to, I am looking forward to obviously Zelda. Come on, you have to. But but also to see where they're going to go with it, because I'm really getting a vibe. I was really big into the GameCube.
Yes,
and the whole generation cycle, mainly because it hit me right in a point in my life where I had all my own money, I had all my own time, I had all my own tastes. So I spent a lot of time with the GameCube, and I'm getting this vibe where they're trying hard again, like they did with the GameCube, and trying to compete with everyone else.
Yeah.
Nintendo's always marched to the beat of their own drum, but to me, they were their best when they had somebody to rub shoulders against. You know what I'm saying? Somebody to compete with. You look at the 64, you had the PlayStation competing against it.
Yeah.
Of course, GameCube had Xbox and PS2. They were trying to keep up with, and then they just kind of went off on their own and wanted to do their thing, and that's fine, and I love them for it, and I will always love the Wii and the Wii U.
Yep.
But I'm getting that feeling that they're going to come back and start. I'm a big wrestling fan. They're going to start Hulk Hogan at Sony and Microsoft, and this is, hey, you brother, like it's over. And having that third party support and having stuff like the Unreal 4 engine running on this bad boy.
Yeah.
Being able to now see, when I see a game that I'm excited about, being able to see PS4, Xbox One, and Switch.
Yes.
That makes me happy again. It's like, yeah, all right.
Yes.
The games everybody else gets too. But that's what I always liked during those times when we had all those third-party wars. It's like, yeah, everybody's going to get Assassin's Creed or whatever. Everybody's going to get this third-party game that they're making for everything. But not only do I get that game, I also get Zelda.
Right.
So, I also get Mario on top of that.
That's what
I'm excited for that to happen again.
Well, and that's one thing I always confuse, like why Nintendo wanted to lose. Now, granted, I know they went this. Well, I've said this to other people having this conversation. Like, I think Nintendo's became their biggest problem was that they actually had so much success with going this blue ocean territory with the Wii, which was it was great, like you said. Like, and I don't discredit it at all. But it took them down the new path that it was so successful than they had been in years that they thought they could keep riding that wave. And then you saw with the Wii U, well, they lost all momentum. And I feel like their key thing is they continue to focus on their first party support. If you can get those third parties to come in and we got Call of Duty and whatever,
right.
Whether I want to play those games or not, we have Smash Bros. Too. We have Mario, Zelda, Metroid.
It's all part of the, growing up, you see the food pyramid. You got to get a balanced meal out of the food pyramid. And that's what you want to look for in a good system. And I feel like some systems in the past that Nintendo's done had a better food pyramid, if you will.
It did.
And I think the Switch is lining up to have an amazing selection for us to be able to choose from.
Well, it's got great power. I think, it's got a little bit better graphics than the Wii U. And yet people, for some reason, complain that it's not as powerful as PS4 or Xbox One. So I'm like, who cares? Like, the games are still going to look beautiful. It's not like they're going to look terrible. That's why I don't understand people's argument with that.
We've hit a point in just modern gaming where it's not a question about graphics anymore. It's going to be pretty. All right. It's going to look really, really good.
Yes.
And knowing that the Switch again can kind of rub elbows with some of these other systems is exciting because that's now taken out. Because I remember back in the Wii days, it was like, but Wii looks dumb.
Right.
It's like,
it's not HD.
But it's a great game. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. I know exactly what you're saying, and I agree with all that. I just think the Switch now with this portability, I think that's the hooker. That is the hooker.
That is. I can't even. It's one of those things. There's so much going on with the Switch. As soon as you said that, I'm like, I forgot about the portability. Like I'm just worried about what I can play in my house, and I didn't even think about the fact that I can now take my Splatoon on the go.
Yes.
And meet up with folks and play it. Or, I know in the first little reveal trailer they had for it, it showed some people playing NBA 2K17.
Yeah.
And I've never been a true sports gamer. Like, I'm not a big Madden guy. I'm not a 2K guy. But I'm telling you, you put some NBA Jam on the Switch, okay, with those two little Joy-Cons, you're able to do some head-to-head on the go. I'm down. Oh, he's on fire in the middle of mire. I'm good with that.
Well, with like,
ready for that.
Well, I'll come back to that. I will come back to that. I guess since we're talking about the Switch stuff, we're going to roll into our news. Tom, what news topic have you brought to us?
I saw a news story earlier today, and it kind of goes along with what I was talking about. How I'm excited that they're really got this third party support behind them, and they got a system that can handle some heavier stuff. And I saw an interview. I guess some investors were talking with them, and they were talking about the Unreal 4 engine. I brought it up earlier, but they were saying Miyamoto says that they have full control of the Unreal 4 engine, and that made me giggle like a schoolgirl because there's very few things that I love in this world, but one of them is Miyamoto, and he's the best. And to hear someone like Miyamoto say, "Oh, we've got the Unreal 4 engine figured out," and then my brain just starts swimming with like, "Is that a new Star Fox? What is he working on? Is there what is he cooking up?" And I'm not too far removed from the time where Miyamoto introduced this weird little game called Pikmin.
Yes.
Oh
my gosh,
Pikmin was so weird, and they're like, "What is this?" And then we finally played it, and it was brilliant. And Miyamoto, I'm telling you, that guy's the type of dude who has a secret notebook. And if I were ever to plan some sort of heist that would go Ocean's 11, on everything, I would. My heist would be I want to steal Miyamoto's idea book, and I just want to read it. I'll give it back. I'll put it back. I just want to read it. I know he's probably sitting on some new ideas, only made possible by the Switch's hardware, and running this Unreal 4 engine that's going to just level everyone. Everyone's going to fall down. So I'm waiting for E3. It's going to happen.
Can you imagine a Pikmin game in Unreal Engine 4?
Let's say, to me, Pikmin 3 was gorgeous.
It was.
Enough.
It was absolutely gorgeous.
Beautiful. But then, to be able to take, because you see all the fan-made Unreal 4 and just, we remade Ocarina of Time in Unreal 4, and some guy spent, 8 weeks just doing the Hyrule Field. Imagine Miyamoto himself sitting down, and creating a game in the Unreal 4 engine with his ideas behind it. Like, yes, sir, I am down all day for that.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo, I assume they do, for as big of a company they are, that they watch these things. They see these fan projects that people put out, and they see, oh, wow.
We know they do because sometimes they shut them down. So
yes, they do. You're right.
We know they're watching.
Wait, that's looking too good. Shut it down.
Yeah, it's like, hang on. Or maybe we're working on that. Put that away. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. And I love it, and I see Metroid, Zelda, all these things. Like, right now, honestly, Breath of the Wild is kind of built on a mix of what the Wii U was capable of doing. I think that's where they went with those graphics. But Onuma even said that he can see the next Zelda game coming to the Switch, the one after Breath of the Wild. And I wouldn't be surprised if they go more of a realistic Skyrim-style look for the next Zelda game. Not as color shaded, but which I think would look phenomenal. I mean,
at Twilight Princess was a darker, grittier Zelda. So I mean, I am down with any Zelda game. That's another issue, I suppose. It's like, what is this? A Zelda game you're going back, you're doing an 8-bit remake of Ocarina of Time. Beautiful. Let's do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have no problem with graphics on a Zelda game.
I'm so glad you brought up the Unreal Engine 4 thing. I mean, the fact that he came out and said that they have it under control, like it just like, it opened my mind to like, wow, is this really happening? Like that they have mastered this technology, that this is what everyone always says they want. Could you, I told Ryan, one of my prediction was everyone says that there's a new Pokemon game coming to the Switch, and it's going to be the first time on the home console. I said people think that it's going to be this, like, I guess you could take if you take on Sun and Moon, there's like videos out there taking the outline border of them off, and they look so much better. Like you can raise the resolutions of it up. But I said,
add some textures. Yeah,
I said the first Pokemon mainline game on the Switch is not going to look anything like that. This is my prediction. I'm thinking this is going to be full out, top of the line graphics style game. Like, could you imagine? Like they said, what Final Fantasy 15 come out? Is that the latest one? Could you imagine? 15 is, imagine your next Pokemon game looking that quality of graphics.
Yeah, that'd be a little crazy. Yeah.
I mean, it's a home console. Like I can totally see them doing it. It doesn't have to be downplayed for just a portable console anymore. Like this is a home console.
Well, and it is portable. You know what I'm saying? So you don't lose that aspect. It is portable. You can still take this places and play.
Well, did you play Pokken Tournament or see it at all?
Oh yeah, I own that. Yep.
The graphics are beautiful in that.
Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. That's what I'm saying. Like if you take that, maybe put that in an Unreal Engine.
Yep.
That works. That absolutely works. I do love me some Pokken, man.
That's
a great game.
That's what I think is going to be like the next Pokemon game with these Unreal Engine 4 stuff. Man. That's exciting. I'm good topic. I'm glad you brought that up. Segueing into mine, and it goes back to what you said about NBA Jam. Actually, I wanted to bring about how last week Nintendo announced this like right after we recorded our show, so we didn't talk about it on it.
I think they know. They just wait. It's like, are they done recording? Okay,
here's the announcement. But they announced that basically, round the numbers out, it's going to be around a $30 yearly fee to play online with their online capabilities. So, which is significantly cheaper than what PlayStation and Xbox offer.
Sure.
So a lot of people now I see this as a great thing. My worry is that, okay, is it $30 because they're not going to give you the same quality as what a PlayStation and Xbox is? Like, it'll be better than what they did offer, but it's a $30 price tag instead of a $60. But or are they really just, being fair and being like, this is going to be great online services, and just like $30 undercuts all the competition? And go ahead.
And I enjoyed the network play for like the Wii U and things. A lot of games worked really, really well on the Wii U, and that was free. That was a completely free service.
Right.
And if that's what they're doing for free, I actually think that what they would do for $30 might be on par.
Absolutely.
What Xbox is doing, with PlayStation's
doing, That's what I'm hoping.
I still have this dream and want. I actually hadn't heard the price yet. I knew they were working on. They said they'd announce it later, and it's good to hear that, because that's a solid price compared to other services. But I'd love to see that even do like some of the other services do. PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live, they give you like the free games like every month. And again, this is something where I think if Nintendo did it, they could do it infinitely better than they can, because imagine getting your free games this month are Super Mario Brothers 3 and Super Metroid. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, yes, I'll take that. Or the free game this month with Nintendo Network is, Ocarina of Time.
Right.
That's, how do you beat that? I'll take that over the 3-year-old game that they're giving away on Xbox that I know I'm not going to play.
Right.
It's going to take up hard drive space.
Well, and going back to your NBA Jam, they said that they're going to let you basically have a game for free for a month, and then after that month, either I think you'd have to just purchase it, or it goes away. But could you imagine they're going to give NES and SNES games online capabilities, is what they're saying, which is a bit different than what PlayStation.
That's crazy, yeah.
That's their own Nintendo hook here on this. Like, it's not just like people say PlayStation gives you a bunch of games for free, and like a lot of times I hear those games like are trash games anyways. Not all of them, but most of them I hear are. But imagine Nintendo's spin is, okay, well, here's Mario Kart, the original Mario Kart. You remember how good you were back in the day?
Oh, yeah.
We'll let you play this for a month for free. Try it out, and if you like it, you can keep playing online just for $5 purchase. You can keep the game, and but imagine doing that with your NBA Jam. Could you online like that?
Yeah, oh yeah.
I just think,
and then again with the Switch portability, just being able to take it anywhere and jam
oh my gosh, that'd be great. Now, going on with a little bit more online stuff that I found, some stuff that some people are upset about are, I saw today that there is no internet browser with the Switch. At least at launch per se. There's no saying it could come later, and that's the same situation with apps like Netflix and Hulu and Amazon, things like that.
Right.
What do you think about that? Is that a big deal to you, or is it?
To me, the browser thing to me, I was always confused when it was on a console.
Mm-hmm.
With my Xbox One, I don't know if I ever get on let me get on the web browser. Why would I do that when I have a phone? Why would I do that when I have a laptop? It was always weird to be like, I need to get on the internet right now. I need to get on the internet right now while I'm on this Xbox. So it never made sense to me. I mean, it's cool, I guess, to say that you have it. But I don't know. I don't think I need a web browser, and that doesn't bug me at all. Now, the apps thing, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, all that stuff, that'll happen. Like those are too big to not have on anything, any kind of device right now. That'll happen. They said not yet, not now, but that'll happen. I think it has to.
Some people just view it as, like, who I've talked with, like they just say it's just Nintendo half doing things again and undercut. I'm like, I don't think they're half doing anything. I think this is a gaming console, and that's why I'm buying it. I'm buying it to play video games, and it frustrates me. Like, I miss the days when we had a 64 and a cartridge with no internet connection, and like That's all you used it for. It was there to play your video games.
Yeah.
Now everyone wants this all-in-one system, and like if it comes later, oh, great. But if it's not there at launch, who cares? Like, I don't want it.
Right. Yeah. It'll get there, and I don't.
But you
need it.
Like you just said with your phone. Like, people have Hulu and Netflix on their phone. They have it on their iPads, whatever. They have it on their laptops, in their TVs. It's like, And I think Nintendo sees that. Like, they're. I think if they in their Nintendo top company discussions, should we put this there at launch? They probably said, well, I think it can come eventually, but everyone else already has them on their phone, so let's save a little bit more time and energy on this. And
and I'm sure there's some logistics to the whole portability of the system. Also, you know what I'm saying? Like, with the home console, it does make sense to have those apps. It's like, it's not leaving home. You're always going to be connected. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But but to also have that ability to make sure they can switch networks if you're going somewhere else. And obviously, it can't connect to 4G that we know, but or anything like that. So
not yet.
Yeah, exactly. So you got to have that built in to be able to find Wi-Fi wherever you're at.
I wouldn't be surprised, man, if one day they're building a little buddy partnership here with Apple, and I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing some Apple tech put into future.
Hey.
I think the Switch is going to do like an iPad thing where it's like 3 years go by, 4 years go by. It's not an entirely new system. It's a new updated screen with like better resolutions, better graphics, better speeds, and maybe there's going to be a Wi-Fi thing in there eventually to where it connects strictly to your phone for a Wi-Fi hotspot if you have an Apple phone. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah. Mario Run changed everything, man.
It did. I really.
Nintendo's big time now.
Well, that's a company I think they need a buddy up with, because
I know, right?
They're the other company who I could ever see if they ever wanted to join the games race.
Oh yeah.
And I don't want them. I don't want another person jumping in the ring. You know.
Yeah.
Microsoft and Sony are tough enough. So.
Right.
But that's what I brought in. Any other thoughts on that?
No, I think I kind of agree with you there. I don't think I need it. You know, we come from an age of we didn't used to have it. I'm telling you, we don't need it.
Right. I got it on my phone right next to me.
Right.
It's always in my pocket.
Which I can pull up and look at while I'm even playing. Yeah.
Absolutely. Great. So real quick, what have you been playing, Tom? Let everyone know. Have you been gaming lately?
Yeah. I've been doing a little bit. I mentioned my Xbox One. I don't want to go off on that or anything, but you brought up Final Fantasy 15. I've been toying with that a lot, and been kind of doodling up some Mario Maker levels in my head.
Oh,
I haven't put them to the pad yet, but been doodling some ideas. I've always been enamored with the giant world in Super Mario Brothers 3,
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to make myself a nice little 4-pack of giant world maps.
I like that.
So kind of been thinking on that in my free time, and and on my 3DS, right around Christmas time, I got the Mega Man Legacy Collection.
Oh, very nice.
So 1 through 6 on there. So I toy with that every now and then, hop on there and play through some of the ones I don't know as well. 1 through 3 I have pretty much memorized. 5 I have pretty well memorized, but I really enjoy 6, and 4 is just an odd duck. But that's a podcast for another day, I suppose. But no, Mega Man Legacy Collection, and then been playing a little Wind Waker HD.
Wind Waker HD.
Yeah, I finally picked it up. You know, it's a Nintendo Select, I think is what they're calling them now. Yeah,
like $20 or something.
Yeah, man. And of course, if you get it used at, say, like a GameStop or something, you get a few bucks off of that. So, I said, you know what? It's time. I need to get this and compare it to my memories of the original.
On a side note here, do you remember, the GameCube and the Wind Waker, all that era was so prominent for Ryan and I, because that's when we started we got a little bit older. We weren't just kids. We were in our teenage years. I live on the east side and he always lived on the south side. So it was kind of long distance at the time. But once I'm
a south side guy.
Yeah. Once we got into those ages, we were able to start hanging out a lot more. In the GameCube days were man, that's where him and I just hung out all the time. I'd go to his place. He'd pack up all of his Yu-Gi-Oh cards and his GameCube, and we put it in that big red bag he always carried around. We go.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know the bag.
We would go to. I believe this was
a magic bag.
It is a magic bag full of fun. We'd go to your store, Game Crazy. Isn't that correct?
Man. Yeah. Oh yeah. I worked there.
Game Crazy was like. To Ryan and I, back for this small period of time before Game Crazy went away, Game Crazy was like,
rest in peace.
Yeah, unfortunately, Game Crazy was like our heaven per se. We would go there, and it was like GameStop was kind of the way I view Xbox. I don't really like Xbox very much. It's like, oh, we don't talk about Xbox. It was like, no, we don't talk about GameStop. We go to Game Crazy.
They were the Walmart. They were the evil corporation.
Yes. And Game Crazy was like the cool, trying to rise up above on its own type of thing. And
hosting local tournaments.
Man. Oh my gosh.
It was the spot, dude. It was the spot.
It was. They just let Ryan and I hang out there, and we would test out games, play games, get the latest into look what's coming down the line. I loved it.
Yep. Did you have your MVP card? You better have your MVP card.
I think I did.
I had to my fair share of MVP cards working there at Game Crazy.
Ryan had this. He got this thing in his account. It was called like you had to ask for it. It was something secret. It was like Asylum or something. Do you remember that?
What?
Yeah.
What? I don't know.
It was like real secretive, and only select regular customers got it. Where like you had to ask for the Asylum disc, and like I don't know what it was. It was like something they were advertising, and Ryan told me to check, and like they never my name wasn't under it. I didn't have anything, but he did.
Weird. Yeah, I don't know if I remember that. Maybe the Illuminati came and erased that one from me since it was so secretive.
Maybe
they don't want me to.
We'll have to ask him when all three of us are on the show. So.
Yeah. Maybe he'll jog my memory. I don't know. Well, it was great. Best job I ever had for sure.
I loved that. I loved that store. That's a quick side note, but what have I been playing? I have still been playing Donkey Kong Land slowly. I'm almost through World 2 because I've never beat Donkey Kong Land, and
I don't think I've ever played it. Yeah.
I'm playing Majora's Mask 3D. I got it for Christmas, and I just beat the Water Temple.
So pretty.
It is pretty. It's amazing how much better that game looks. So I'm trying to get back in that Zelda mindset slowly.
There you go.
I'm a huge Donkey Kong fan. I really have.
Oh, Donkey Kong's great.
I've loved him almost my whole life, but like really the past year and a half has been like I have like just had this renaissance with him, or I'm like rebuying all the country games, and I'm like playing them. I'm like,
dude, they're solid. They're so good.
I'm like 102%ing them. I'm not like just beating them. I'm trying to get everything.
All the stuff. KONG, every level. Let's do it.
Absolutely. So I've been obsessed, but I'm trying to get out of that mode for Zelda because I love Zelda too, and gotta share the love. And so
there's a few more Zeldas than there are Donkey Kongs.
Unfortunately, they should change that. I would like to see a little bit more Donkey Kong, but
I'm with you.
So Majora's Mask 3D, yes, I'm trying to work on it. I want to get it beat before the Switch gets here because I know once the Switch gets here, all other games.
This is a wild time.
All other games are going on back burner until I beat those. Yep. So that's what I've been playing. But enough of that. I think it's time to get into our topic of the week. We are going to talk about The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker.
Yes.
All right, so just like every week, we're going to hop into a little story time here with the Holy Bible of Hyrule.
There it is. Yeah.
The Hyrule Historia.
Yeah, and I know you guys don't understand how hyped I am for this episode at home. You can't see it, but I got my Zelda shirt on. I got my sweet Wind Waker snapback on. I am ready to go. I'm sitting here with my OG copy of Wind Waker with all the original books and things inside of it. I'm ready to relive this.
He's prepared. I'm wearing a Pokemon shirt. He's more prepared than me. Sorry. It's okay. At least I got my Hyrule Historia here. So
there you go.
All right. So last week, all right, yeah, that's story time. Last week we talked about Ocarina of Time, and this is the game. That's the game where everything split, everything changed. That's when we found out there were timelines, and but now I believe we only thought there were two timelines until later on. So going from Ocarina of Time, the hero returns to his original era with the help of the sages in the Hero of Time. Princess Zelda sealed away Ganon and returned Link to his original era to ensure that the sacred realm could not be reopened. She put the Master Sword back in its pedestal and closed the door of time. The passage between eras was sealed, and the Triforce of Courage continued its slumber somewhere in the land. The purification of Hyrule, the dark clouds that had gathered over Hyrule parted, and light began to return to the world. However, once enough time had passed that the deeds of the Hero of Time had faded into legend, the creeping hand of evil beset the kingdom once more. The deeds of the Hero of Time are passed on as legends, and even in the eras after the kingdom of Hyrule vanished, with the earth, the legend of the Hero of Time and the kingdom where the power of the gods slumbered continued to be passed from generation to generation. From the hero's green garb to the details of his departure, the events of the story were handed down in the form of a scroll, becoming a legend from a bygone era. Ganondorf is resurrected in the era without a hero. Ganondorf formally sealed away, crawled up from the depths of the earth, and enshrouded Hyrule in darkness once more. The prayers of the people were in vain, and the hero never appeared. Out of hope and out of time, King Daphnus of Hyrule made his decision. He would entrust the fate of his kingdom to the gods. The gods decided to seal Hyrule away. The gods chose which of the kingdom's subjects would ascend to the new land, telling them to escape to the tallest mountains. And Ganondorf flooded the world seeking They then flooded the world, seeking Ganondorf and Hyrule sinking them to the bottom of the ocean and sending them away. Though the king was sealed along with his kingdom, the princess took a piece of the Triforce that had been broken into by the king and managed to escape to the ocean's surface with several of her retainers. And in Ganondorf's plot, hundreds of years passed, and Ganondorf, who should have been sealed at the bottom of the ocean along with Hyrule, was resurrected once again. He gave an order to his minions to attack the wind and earth temples, killing the two sages whose prayers gave the Master Sword the ability to destroy evil. Upon emerging from the sea, he turned the Forsaken Fortress into his base of operations and began his search for Princess Zelda, a descendant of the royal family who possessed the Triforce of Wisdom. Now that is our intro to The Wind Waker.
Man, I hope underneath that story, you got to play that intro jingle, like from when you start a new game in Wind Waker. It's got like the lute going on.
Oh yeah,
oh man,
like the fairy part.
The very beginning, like when it's given like the history of like.
Oh yeah. Yes, that like one of the best songs in the whole game. I know what you're talking about.
Now it's got like the hand drawn like paintings. And like stained glass look to it. Oh, it's beautiful.
It's like the only song done by Koji Kondo in that game.
Yeah, see,
he's the original composer for all the other Zelda games beforehand.
Yep.
But this game was released in North America on March 24, 2003 for the Nintendo GameCube, and it was re-released for the Wii U on September 20th, 2013. Now, Tom, I've talked a lot. I know you're chomping at the bit here. Have at it. Tell us your some stories, your first experiences with this game.
All right, man. I'm gonna take you way back. So I'm gonna take you back before the game was even announced, because Wind Waker to a lot of people was blasphemous when it was first announced.
I remember this
because I think it was Space World. I can't remember the exact conference happened, but they showed a tech demo of the GameCube. I think at the time it was maybe even codenamed the Dolphin still. So they were showing the tech footage, and they showed this awesome dark fight between Ganondorf and Link, and it was real gritty, and people were losing their minds, and it was like, yes, this is the future. And then the next year they come to E3 and they announce the Wind Waker. And Link isn't this awesome adult with these dark graphics. He's a cartoon kid, and people. That's my first memories of this game was people just, oh, that's ridiculous. Why would they ruin the game? I make it a stupid cartoon, blah blah, and all these other things. And again, a lot of this was just screenshots. We saw a little bit of it in motion, but I just remember. I remember even then going, you know what? I trust Nintendo, man. Just trust them. They always do well. Just trust them.
Hey, you sound like me.
That's what I'm saying. Just trust them. See, that's why we get along so well on this podcast.
Yes.
Just trust them. They know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I remember the hate, because again, the GameCube was competitive with like PS2 and Xbox at the time.
Yeah.
And so it was like, hey, what do you got? What's your exclusive? Since everybody is getting the third party games, what's your niche? What's the one thing you have that no one else has? And of course, one of Nintendo's is always going to be Zelda. So you look at this one and it's like, that's for babies. It's got colors in it, and I was the one guy that was like, I don't know, man. I think it's going to be good. And you know what? Not to jump too far ahead in the discussion, but if it wasn't for that art style, that game probably wouldn't hold up as well as it does. I mean, I shouldn't say that because the game is great, but that art style makes it timeless. It doesn't look aged. You don't have to age it up for like a 3D remake. You don't have to. I mean, they did do the HD thing, which was nice of them, but like I'm telling you, recently popped in the old Wind Waker and it still looks good because of those stylistic choices. So for me, my earliest memories of Wind Waker was the hate that was vehemently thrown at it by all the gamer guys telling you that it was stupid and for babies, and I was gonna hold out and wait. But
that might have been one of the first moments where like Nintendo started to do things that just made people mad. Like you start to see this trend that where they don't do what everyone says they should do. And they're like, no, we're going to do it this way. Yeah. And you're going to actually love it. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Now I do. I also remember, again, I haven't even got to the game yet. In my memory and my nostalgia of this game has a lot of build up to it before it even comes out. Because I also remember, so even though I'm still one of the faithful, I'm like, listen, I'm pre-ordering this game. I love Ocarina of Time. This is the next game since Majora's Mask / Ocarina of Time. Those all use the same assets. I kind of count that as one thing. But this is a new Zelda, man. I'm playing this, dude. So I went and I pre-ordered it at GameStop. I know we just got done talking about how cool Game Crazy was, but I don't think I was there yet. But pre-ordered it, and I got my copy of Ocarina of Time on GameCube. With the Master Quest Ocarina of Time. That was, oh man, that thing was so cool. And as much as I love Ocarina of Time, I was ready for that Master Quest to just dig into that and have my world shattered when I enter the Deku tree for the first time right at the beginning, and then a fire bat just obliterates my shield from the get-go, and I'm like, oh, well, that changes everything.
I never beat it, by the way. It was too tough.
Oh, I got stuck on the fire temple, man. There's a puzzle with some arrows you got to shoot just right, and I just got frustrated, and I haven't gone back in many, many years to mess with it.
I wonder why the Master Quest is so like why can't I just mentally treat this like it's the new Zelda game and just figure it out that way? But I remember getting stuck in the. I got to the point where I got stuck at the first Forest Temple after when you're an adult, and I
that was tough.
Couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, man. It made me kind of glad that I stopped when I did, because the water temple was hard enough
Oh, jeez.
in Ocarina of Time. I can't imagine how they made it more difficult for Master Quest. And I'm sure somebody out there has played it and they're like, bro, you don't even know. Like,
you don't even know.
But not to get off on Master Quest. Again, maybe that's another episode. But
yeah, we'll save it for another one.
Yeah, but I was so excited to get those, because of Wind Waker. And it tided me over and got me so Zelda hype. So that when Wind Waker finally hit, it hit. And I was in a stage in my life where I had a job. I was graduating high school in a couple months from then. So, the world was my oyster, and Zelda was there for me, that Wind Waker was. So, again, it was a good feeling too, when you're growing up, you're getting older and you can buy your own stuff. You don't have to wait and beg mom for Christmas or birthday for something. Yep. You go, you know what I want? Wind Waker. You know what I'm going to get it right now? That's what I'm getting it. So it was nice to be able to take that, bring it home, and just dig right into it. And this is one of the games, and there's so many Nintendo games like this, but this is one of the games too that it really became multi-generational in my family. I'm the oldest of four, and I'm about 1,000% positive all four of us have played Wind Waker and thoroughly enjoy it. So, again, I got my OG copy right here, and it is beat up. The box is beat up because, daggone it, we play this game.
Yeah.
I could probably flip over the disc right now, and it, actually it's still pretty good condition. I assumed Abby, my youngest sister, who I hope is going to listen to this. Abby, I want to let you know, if you're listening, that I expected this to be trashed because you were the last one to play it. But it's looking good. Not bad, kiddo. Not bad. So
the Wind Waker, I don't know about you, it's my personal favorite. Like, out of all the Zelda games, like, in past episodes I've talked about.
So good.
Well, because Zelda, Ryan introduced me into the Zelda series. Like, I knew of Zelda, and I had seen Ryan play Ocarina of Time, but it wasn't until building up to the Wind Waker launch. Like, I pre-ordered it, and I got these discs, and you had the old games, Majora's Mask, and I had Majora's Mask for the 64, but I was still a kid. Like, I don't think I didn't understand the full depths of Zelda. Like, I got it, and I did beat it, actually.
Sure. Oh yeah, it's a bigger game, yeah.
And Majora's Mask is not like it's a mainline game, but it's not like the main story game. It has nothing to do with Ganondorf. It's all about Majora, and
it operates completely differently than the other ones do.
Yes, it does. And so that was my experience. But once Ryan got me into like Nintendo Power, we started getting these magazines and started reading everything, and I pre-ordered it. Me getting to play Ocarina of Time, going back and revisit it, I really fell in love with the story. Like, this is the GameCube days is when I really fell in love. So to me, the Wind Waker was like, this is my Zelda game. Like, this is the first time like I am actually like building up into the hype. Like, there's a new game coming out. I've been following it since the announcement. All the screenshots and the rumors about it. Like, I couldn't wait. Because I'm a big story guy. I love when games connect, even in shows and cartoons and movies. Like, I love it when they connect. And that's what I love about Zelda is that it's like hundreds of thousands of years apart, all the stories. They connect because it's a legend. And I remember when I beat Ocarina of Time for the first time on that GameCube disc, Ganondorf says at the end, like, I will be back, like when he's falling down the white background. And like, to me, I was like, oh, that means it's going to be a sequel. And you knew Ganondorf was coming back. And like, it blew my mind that this was like hundreds of years later, and this is the same Ganondorf. Like, how's this?
Which, by the way, I didn't want to interrupt the story when you were reading out of Hyrule Historia, but I hadn't heard some of that before, and the one thing that really stuck out in my brain was when you talked about someone. Ganon was resurrected.
Yes,
and I wanted to time out you really hard right there, but I didn't want to break the story up because I never really thought about it. Who's going around resurrecting Ganon? Can we stop that guy? Can we have the game where we stop the guy who's trying to resurrect Ganon? I know at that point you're infringing on maybe becoming Castlevania, where you're always trying to stop the resurrection of Dracula. But I just want to say, can we stop that guy? Where was Link when that guy was doing that? Like,
well, there are some Zelda games where there's someone trying to resurrect Ganon. Well, like what? Did you play A Link Between Worlds for the 3DS?
Oh yeah, you know what? That was definitely part of the story. Yeah, you're right.
They were trying to resurrect Ganon. And even Zelda 2, you don't even fight Ganon, I don't believe. You're stopping the dude trying to resurrect Ganon that you just beat in the first Zelda game.
You know what? You're right, man.
So,
I guess I just got really stuck on that for whatever reason.
No, you're right, though.
Knock it off. We need to stop these guys resurrecting Ganon.
You're right, though. I mean, why is this happening?
I didn't mean to derail you.
No, you're fine. You're absolutely fine. That's probably the side game they're waiting to make.
That's what it is, yeah. But you're right, though. The idea that Wind Waker was a direct sequel, technically, to Ocarina of Time. And I'm sure we'll hit it here in a little while, but there are so many things that connect it to Ocarina that makes it awesome.
Well, and
all the way up, the shop theme is the same.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, that's so cool.
At this time, too, though, like, I don't think we realized that there was going to be multiple timelines. At least I didn't.
Right, yeah.
In my mind, I thought, like, it's all the same track, like.
Yeah.
And we just.
And I had treated it like a Final Fantasy situation, which, every Final Fantasy is different. They're not connected to each other.
Uh-huh.
So that's how I kind of treated Zelda. I was like, oh, yeah, they're all different. It's whatever. But then to have this one directly reference it, even in the opening cinematic of like, nah, this guy, he saved us. He's the hero of time. I'm like, hey, I know that guy. And, then this happens, and that's pretty cool.
It was so cool. I love that. But, sorry, go ahead. Continue.
I'd say, man, I want to be respectful to your listeners, and I know, we want to keep it on some kind of timeline, but I can just keep going and going and going. But everything from just that intro, slapping it in, you get that sweet piccolo music going, telling the story, and I guess I mentioned it earlier, but I guess that's the first thing you really kind of notice about Wind Waker is the visual style. You know what I'm saying? The way it looks, the cell shaded graphics, which were kind of popular at the time. But it's so pretty, man. It's so pretty. And I love the way it looks. I love the way the grass moves and stuff. I love the clouds in the sky, the way the water technically has kind of a painted look to it. The way bombs blow up and enemies blow up, you get that cool purple cloud. The way, I don't know how they made it do that, but no matter what angle you're at, it looks 2D, but it's still 3D. Like, I don't know how they did it.
Magic of Nintendo.
Apparently, yeah, they must have put some real magic into this one because I just love the way it looks all the way through. And I don't want to jump. I don't know how much we want to jump into story, but there is one point in this game. I didn't know what you wanted to get to yet either, but there's one point in this game that is one of my favorite gaming moments, like ever, like of all time. One of the coolest things that has ever been done. But I don't know if I want to jump to it yet, or if you had anything really about anything else before we jump into that.
Jump at it.
Oh man. Okay. Spoilers, kids. All right. If you haven't played this game that came out in 2003, or I guess technically 2013, if you're playing the HD remake. Either way, it's been a while, so I'm gonna spoil this a little bit. Halfway through the game, because most Zelda games send you on a fetch quest for 3 things.
Yes.
You get the sword, and then you have to do the other thing.
Standard set by Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, exactly. It's your standard Zelda kind of formula that they used in a lot of things. So after you collect the 3 pearls and the 3 little like orbs in this one, you find this island. It rises up. You go into it, and things start. It just feels kind of weird, man. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. It's kind of weird, the music is kind of off, and you realize you're in the castle. You're in Hyrule Castle. And you're like, oh my gosh. And it's all black and white. The game that's like popping with color constantly. You're in this place where it's black and white, and there's soldiers everywhere. There's destruction, and it's all freeze framed. Like it's just, again, there goes my hair standing up. But like it's just quiet, and all these guys are standing around, and there's some of the tougher enemies that you've already encountered in the game. So it's like, you don't want to wake them up. Like, oh, okay, don't. Yeah. I don't know if I touch this guy if he wakes up or something.
Right.
Like Frozen, you get in, you get the Master Sword. And the Master Sword is so brilliant in this game. It's so beautiful. And you pull the Master Sword out, and everything comes to life. And when everything comes to life, it gets real, like real fast. And you're like, oh, I got to fight all these guys. And I think that's when you first – I can't remember if that's the first time you encountered the Iron Knuckles in this one. The big giant metal guys.
I don't know if it's the first time, but I know they're there, yeah.
They're there. I just couldn't remember if it was the first time, but those guys are tough, and you got the Master Sword, and they did such a great job of showing you the power creep of the Master Sword.
Yeah.
Because, you got your regular sword, and some of those guys are tough to beat, and you're like, oh, I really don't want to fight these guys. But when they all come to life, you have the Master Sword, you're like two-shotting them, and you're like, oh, well, this Master Sword is awesome. It kills everything.
Right. I specifically, I remember that scene, and like, that's what I love. Again, back to these games, I love when they connect, because like, you're not just in Hyrule Castle. Like, I pay attention to the little details. Like, oh, is this the look exactly the same as it did in Ocarina of Time? Is this castle placed the right way? Is the outside town right outside Hyrule Castle like it is in Ocarina of Time? And it was. You couldn't go everywhere, but it gave me goosebumps, because you literally step back in time, like hundreds of years, land that's people, like the people of that day in that game don't know this exists. They don't know this is even there,
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's all legend to them.
All that stuff, yeah.
I loved that part. Like, I get goosebumps just talking about it right now with you, Tom. Like,
it's one of the greatest moments in all of gaming, in my opinion. Like, it's just, even if you don't have that connection to Ocarina of Time, it's still so cool.
Oh, it is.
Just again, because the colors are all gone, everything's black and white, everything's so still and quiet, and it's awesome. It's one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
Absolutely. Well, segueing in, kind of talking about with everything we just talked about, I want to, what we're doing with all the games is we want to compare this current game to similarities from Wind Waker to Breath of the Wild. And to me, the big key thing that you said about Wind Waker is that this game, because of its art style, it ages very well. I think you're going to see the exact same thing with Breath of the Wild. Like, it's a very
it has a style to it. Yeah,
it's similar in like color style, but it's not it's different drawings. They don't look as they're not drawn like little cartoon characters. They're more
There's kind of a watercolor feel to the Breath of the Wild that I like. I think you're right. There is a visual comparison you can make a little bit. Now, granted, they are two separate art styles, but they are stylized,
right? Which
I think will help it stand the test of time. And one of the things, I didn't get to it because I think this is a good spot for it, but one thing I think that they have in common is just that vastness. Like, when you're sailing the waters in Wind Waker, it feels forever. Like, this world is gigantic. Now, granted, we've actually seen comparisons and stuff that Breath of the Wild is absolutely massive. Like, it dwarfs even a game like Skyrim, and that's insane. The idea that this game is that big. But of course, with Wind Waker, though, they had to use some tricks to kind of make you feel that. I felt like this world is gigantic. I felt like, as a matter of fact, I mentioned I got my old copy of Wind Waker right here.
Mm-hmm.
You open it up, and next to that nice gold disc, I got a folded up piece of paper. This is how big this world is. I got a folded up piece of paper. It's beat up. It's nasty, ragged looking. Looks like it's got a printed date from a public library computer. I don't know who printed this off, if it was me or one of my siblings, from 2008. So this is 5 years after the game has come out. We're still playing it, right?
There you go.
I'm sure we've beat it, but you're still playing it,
Mm-hmm.
And this is the map of all the sea charts, where all the Triforces are, where all the shards are, where all the wind warps are, the ghost ship locations. And it's all in like that ASCII code, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like not even a real like printed thing. Probably from, let's see, where did I get it from? Game Facts. Of course I got it from Game Facts. But the fact that the world was so big that you had to be like, man, I need to chart this stuff out myself. I found the game map, have a map of my own to be like, okay, this island is over here. And, to have each island have kind of their own, a lot of them have their own dungeons within them.
Yeah.
The game was huge. And I think that's something that Breath of the Wild borrowed from. If we're looking at the same kind of evolutionary chart as the Nintendo consoles took to get to the Switch, I think that Breath of the Wild is kind of taking some of that DNA from some Zelda games. And I think the DNA it gets from Wind Waker is that massiveness, is that sense of expanse, that wow, this place is huge. And that's something I'm excited to get into Breath of the Wild with, and just get lost, literally. Like, just get lost.
Well, and it's just kind of, I like that you mentioned about the vastness of the ocean, because a lot of times we compare this to Ocarina of Time, like we did last week, and a lot of people are comparing it to the very first, the concept of a giant world, you're out in the middle of nowhere. But
that's definitely part of it too, yeah.
It is, but I really think when you stop and think about it, Wind Waker was the biggest, in my opinion, to this point, was the biggest expansion of everything, because you're right, like you're traveling across large masses of water. Now, granted, they made it feel longer too, because you didn't have unless you got the HD version. Spoiler alert here, you get the special sail that makes you go extra fast. But beforehand, before you can warp in the game, there's not a lot of it takes a lot of time traveling from island to island, so that
you better like the open seas, me hearty, because you're going to be sailing.
So it definitely added to that, and I think you're going to see that with the similar art styles with Breath of the Wild. And story wise, the difference between the games was like, we know exactly where this is. The biggest mystery with this one, which watching the trailers just fuels my my obsession with the story, is where does this game take place in the timeline? Like, I told Ryan, and I know it's reaching for the stars here, but I actually think this is going to be a conversion of all the timelines. I think somehow, I don't know how, I think somehow they're bringing them all back.
That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. It would be nice. It would simplify some things to have a nice choke point like that, too. It
would. Well, Ocarina of Time was where everything split up.
Oh, yeah. That's
so this is like the next game to kind of take the torch from that game and be the next staple. So bring everything back together. And the reason that I think supports is that we have seen hints from each timeline of like, oh, this could be in the Wind Waker. Because and if you watch like E3 gameplay, like someone came across some dirt or something, and like the caption came up when you picked it up, and it said like, oh, the dirt here is still moist from the high salt seas of when this land used to be flooded in an ocean. And then you got the little plant dudes from Wind Waker. Yes, from Wind Waker. But then at the same time, you see a lot of similarities to Twilight Princess. The bridge, I think that's the bridge of Elden that he's crossing on the horse in the trailer. You even see at the trailer, the big trailer they showed at the Switch event, like they've shown off the Hyrule Castle town like being destroyed, and it looks identical to Twilight Princess, like piece for piece. That big fountain in the middle, and then I guess the only hint towards the other timeline is, I guess the flowers are in the same place where the pedestal of the sword is. You know what I'm talking about? In A Link to the Past, there's like
exactly. That's what I was going to say. Link to the Past,
and that's the Fallen Hero timeline, and so there's hints from each of them. So I'm under the impression that they're going to combine them. That's just my guess.
It's possible.
Could be completely wrong. This could take place before even Ocarina of Time, for all we know. I hope not. I actually think it'd be cooler if it's in the future. But
yeah, I think so too. And I like that too. I've always liked that idea. Just all the stuff we've been seeing. It's the Breath of the Wild. So really, each Zelda game kind of has a gimmick around something. The Wind Waker, it's about the wind and the seas and all that fun stuff. And but I like the idea of Breath of the Wild. The idea that Hyrule is the gimmick. The fact that Hyrule is like the main thing that you're going to be playing with. And it feeds into this idea, because even with the whole thing of Link waking up in this resurrection chamber, there's obviously some sort of technology, but not in Hyrule anymore, and all this stuff. And it reminds me of the old saying. I want to say it was Einstein or somebody was quoted saying that I don't know what weapons World War III will be fought with, but I know that World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones. So the idea that whatever happened destroyed this whole world and everything's been able to return to nature. And that's such a cool thing to me. And it does. It harkens back to Wind Waker becoming so elemental. Obviously, elementally, the Wind Waker was all about water. The Hyrule was purged with water, and now with Breath of the Wild, it feels like it's been purged with itself. Grass is growing over everything, and the wild is taken over, and that's exciting.
That's very exciting, and gosh, I just can't wait to dive in.
Yeah, buddy.
So, I mean, this episode's gone on very long, and
my fault. I'll take the blame. I'm sorry.
Oh, I love
Listeners, it's all my fault.
Have no fear. I love it because we're getting lost in discussion, and it's great, And
I didn't even get I had some notes, and I didn't even get a chance to get to some of them, and that's fine. I wanted to talk about all the crazy characters, the NPCs, the Kerbloom, that guy, and the kid with the giant snot nose. Thank you, that guy. And then
thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Tingle Tuner. I can talk about the Tingle Tuner.
Oh yeah, we can mention the Tingle Tuner. Did you use that a lot when you connect it to your Game Boy Advance?
I had my brother. I had my little brother. I had the cord. And he got a Game Boy Advance for Christmas, and I had him drop some bombs. Some bombs for me. It's like, hey man, drop on here and help me out through this real quick.
That was so fun. That was cool.
Oh, yeah.
Nintendo doing those ways to connect their Game Boy Advance to their home console. Always being innovative.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, but
I love Wind Waker, and it's I respect you for it being your favorite. I still think Ocarina of Time's my favorite, but man, anybody who says Wind Waker is their favorite, I can't argue with them. I understand. It's great.
I think the soundtrack is amazing on the game.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
I
listen
that either.
I listen to the soundtrack, and if you know me, I am a pretty emotional guy. Like, I'll cry at a TV show. I'll cry at, I cried at the end of Boy Meets World, for Pete's sakes,
Hey, you know what?
But
make connections with those people. I understand.
You do. And when I listen to the ending credits of this,
oh man, yeah,
I tear up. This is how it goes in my mind. It's so beautiful, and it kind of. I know this isn't the case, but if you listen to the music, to me, it kind of what plays in my mind is this happy ending of a reunion. Because at the end of the game, they're kind of all reunited. They're going off forward into the sunset to find the new land. To me, what plays in my mind, and it has nothing to do with Zelda. Nothing to do with it at all, but the music, it kind of reminds me of that one day of when we're all going to get to heaven, and when we pass on to into our next life, and you're just going to be reunited with all your past family and your friends that you've seen go before you, and it's just that's what would be such a glorious moment, and that's what plays in my mind when I hear this music, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful piece.
Yeah, and same thing with me. Whenever I get a little worked up, for whatever reason, Dragon Roost Island, man.
Oh yeah,
it speaks to you. It settles me down. I'm like, you know what? I need to be chill right now. I just need to chill out.
Absolutely. Well, I think we can wrap it up. Tom, you want to tell everyone where they can find this game at?
You know what? There's only two places to find this game. You either find an old copy for GameCube, like the one I have sitting right next to me, or you can buy the HD version on the Wii U. You can, of course, those are still brand new. What's really cool is those are now the Nintendo Select, so you can get that for a pretty cheap price, or you can just download it on the Wii U eShop. Get it that way too. And I highly, friends, listen to me. I highly recommend you get this game. I don't care how you do it. I prefer you do it legally. All right, don't be that guy. Legally get this game and play it and love it like we do.
Absolutely, and you're gonna understand so many references and things we talked about today. If you don't understand it yet, play this game and you will. So, Tom, you want to tell everybody where they can find you at?
You can't find me. I'm a magician. I can disappear. No, I'm kidding. I got a Twitter that I don't use very often, but you know what? If you guys get on there and you start following me and you start tweeting at me, you'll get me going. So on Twitter, you can actually find me at Mr. Boomski. That is MrBoomski. To play on my gamer tag. Which I guess, if you ever want to find me on Xbox or Wii U or anything, I am the Big Boomski on all of those. So you can just look me up that way.
How do you spell Boomski?
It is BOOMSKI. Boomski.
S-K-I. There you go, everybody.
Yep.
And some due diligence on my end. Ryan, this is normally his job. I'm picking up the slack for him again.
Come on, Ryan.
You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/NintendoNOS, or you can find us on Twitter at twitter.com/NintendoNOS or Nintendo_NOS. My bad. And you can find us on iTunes. Please rate us, write comments. That helps, believe it or not, other people get to know us and find us. We want to continue to grow and provide a better show for you guys. So, again, guys, we hope you really enjoyed this episode. I really did, because this is my favorite Zelda game, and I'm okay with that. It's a little bit longer than normal. I hope you all are too. I actually like long podcasts because I have a job that I can literally stand around all day and work and listen to podcasts, and it just eats up the day for me. So,
so you're welcome. That's what we're trying to say, is you're welcome for a long podcast.
Yes. And I always listen to our own show just so I can review and oh, okay, that was good. That was so good. Maybe do that next time. So this will give me some good work time stuff to pass the time, I guess. So, but well, everyone, thank you so much. We are so close to Breath of the Wild Switch release. What we got? 1, 2, 3. 3 weeks. Oh my gosh! 3 weeks from this Thursday, Friday.
Oh man,
so,
it's coming. This is happening.
To be honest, every time when I look at the schedule, planning out the shows, okay, we're going to talk about Wind Waker this week and what's coming up next week. I'm just get here already. I don't want to do these.
Yeah.
I do want to do these, but I'm just the anxious. I'm just tired. I'm
oh yeah.
I see the schedule. I'm I got 3 more weeks till we're actually there. But thankfully, the last episode will actually air the day of the midnight release. So it's all good, man. It's all good.
Yeah. We're keeping you fed here over at Nintendo Nostalgia.
That's what we're trying to do, everybody. So stay in touch. We love you all. Thank you so much. Tom, thank you so much for coming back.
Dude. No, thank you.
Helping us. And guys, Tom, we look to have him back on multiple times to be able to be a guest and be interactive.
Try to beat my record, see if I can make that podcast longer.
That's
kidding.
what
I'm just kidding.
We'll come back to this, and he'll probably have smashed this record. So
yeah.
All right, everybody. We'll talk to you next time. Have a good week. We're closer and closer to Breath of the Wild. See ya.
Thanks, guys.